All right, so moving forward from here, let's. I'm just going to give a content warning. I am moving into CreationWatch, and today's CreationWatch is not for the faint of heart. It's going to we're going to deal with some gender stuff, and there. I haven't watched the whole thing. I'm probably going to hop around, but for the most part, it was just this one clip that I wanted to bring up because I'm just have a great weekend. Show me Sasquatch. Just something that it popped into my feed today, and it reminded me. I meant to cover it during Pride Month, but was not able to. So I am sorry to anybody who doesn't want to hear about this, but these issues are becoming more and more important to me, and I'm going to cover them. This is where the thumbnail came from, because apparently we're all creepy closet monsters. Okay, so let me know if you can't hear anything. This is just a short little 39-second clip.
Do you know what they are admitting when they say they're coming out of a closet? What's a closet? You know, when I was a kid, I used to be afraid of monsters coming out of the closet. When they say, I'm coming out of the closet, you know what they're admitting? That they're coming out of a very dark place.
Okay, so there's a full video to this that I will not go through the whole thing, but I wanted to address what he just said here. Okay. All right, so coming out of a closet is coming out of a dark place. No shit. No, man. Obviously. But it's not. We're not the monsters in the closet. The monsters are the people who put us in the closet for decades and decades. Treated us like we were pariahs of society. That we should not be able to show our true selves in the light of day for fear of ridicule. That we had to hide in our closets like Anne Frank hiding from the Nazis. This is not a situation where we're monsters lurking in your closet. I also wanted to reference the wolf drag queen reference. This is something that came up in a conversation I had with my friend Jenny the other day about drag queens. So drag queens are not part of the LGBTQ. They are not. Generally, they're not. There are some percentage of them that are homosexual, but for the most part, drag queens are part of cis het culture. They are part of a entertainment segment. They are not representative of the trans community. And to conflate the two of them and to say the drag shows are what the trans community looks like and what we do, that the drag queen story time stuff, which, whatever about, that's again part of cishet culture, and that's not a representation of the trans community, and that's not our trans outreach program. That's not something that trans women, especially, I know, because trans men don't exist to this culture. But trans women we're just all drag queens, or we're conflated with drag queens, which is completely ridiculous. I'm just like a regular woman. I'm not a dancing around up on stage singing or doing cabaret or anything like that. Just regular. We're mostly just regular women living our lives. I have other regular women just living our lives up here. Amy Newman does do some dancing around, though. You can't watch Skeptic ranting without seeing Amy doing a little bit of dancing. And I guess I dance too, but like regular people dancing, not drag queen drag show dancing. That's not our that's not the trans lifestyle at all. And I'm so sick of people just saying like, oh yeah, you're all drag queens or something, especially people like Matt Powell. So yeah, that is pretty freaking ridiculous that he would use that example at the end. It's a scare tactic, but they're not just conflating. Matt Powell is not just conflating the trans community as drag queens. He's conflating the whole entire LGBTQ community as a toxic environment full of this kind of behavior. It gets quite ridiculous. I do want to pop in to see the he couldn't even, this video was I don't think it was past the YouTube algorithm, is why it had to be moved over here. We're not going to watch the whole 46 minutes of it, but he does say some stuff here at the beginning that we'll see how far we can get into it before I shut it down.
Hey guys, this is Matt Powell and the team here at Dinosaur Adventureland, coming to you today with a different topic than what we would normally cover. Normally we talk about things like creation versus evolution, the dinosaurs, the fossil record, and so on and so forth, and why young earth creationism is true. But today, with it being the supposed Pride Month, and with all of these queers going about on the streets and holding up their gay pride flags, I feel compelled.
Woo! Queer representation. You never hear anybody point out the Q. I would consider myself part of the Q section of LGBTQ, the queer community, for most of my adult life. A lot of it in the closet, but I'm still kind of queer because I don't fit all the typical gender roles of either gender, because I still like to do things that are traditionally considered boy stuff. I don't think that they should be, like playing with bugs and stuff. I don't think that should be considered a boy thing. Regardless, anyway, I'm just glad to see some queer shout out from Matt Powell. So I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to have a positive outlook on that. And yes, we're out there waving our flags around. Finally, after decades of being shoved in those closets that you were talking about a second ago, we can come out into the light of day and be ourselves and have society accept us for who we are. Have our mothers and fathers not reject us from our homes. We have moved to the point where we can do that. We are there. So yeah, we're like waving our flags. Good.
Held as a preacher and as somebody who believes the Bible to actually tell people and warn people about what this crowd really is all about.
He's going to tell us what we're all about, guys. So stick around. I hope my queer community, my LGBTQ community, is sticking around for this, because Matt Powell, if you don't know what you're all about, he's going to tell us.
So the title of my message today is The Case Against the LGBT, the case against the LGBT. The Bible says, prove all things, hold fast to that which is good.
He's going to make a case against us. I wonder, is this a case? Is he going to file this and not going to appeal to like courts? That'd be interesting to see. Hey, Slim, good to see ya. Good to see you, and happy that people are still popping in. Anyway, let's continue.
Good. Like I said earlier, today and this whole month is a month that is celebrated by the United States of America, and it's known as Pride Month. And people are going about in the streets holding up their queer pride signs, right? And their flags. It's
funny because you think that we're all just proud of ourselves. Well, I think a lot of us are proud of our country and our society too. We're proud of you guys for finally, saying, hey, I accept these people. I accept these people in my community. We're proud of our cities where we have legislation passed to protect and support us, where we have medical bills passed to help us go through whatever transitional needs that we have as a trans person going through the medical stuff right now. Thank you. I am proud of our society for making those steps forward. I'm deeply saddened by some of the steps we've made backwards, especially those that we've made recently.
Wags. But here's the thing. Anderson Cooper recently came out. He said, he came out as a homosexual, and he says, I couldn't be any more happy, comfortable with myself, and proud. Do you know what the definition of pride is? Pride, a feeling that you are more important or better than other people.
This is, oh goodness, let's do it. We're going to definition check you there, Matt, because you're just using the one that you don't like, because there's a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. Yeah, because a city can be proud of their. I bet you're proud of your church, Matt. I bet you're proud of your church and the success you have with your church, whatever success level that is. I bet you're proud of it. I'm proud of my kids and their achievements. I'm proud of my country for certain things. I am proud of our progress forward for LGBT community in general. Over the last 20 years, we've made a huge leap forward. I know that again, things recently are kind of bleak, but if you look at how we were treated in the 90s, in the 80s, even in the early 2000s, we've made a lot of progress. So I'm proud of that. There are more definitions. Conscious of one's own dignity. Be especially proud. Oh, that's okay. So let's see, because I don't want to just use one dictionary. I'm going to go to Merriam-Webster's. That's the this old standby. The quality or state of being proud. Okay. Inordinate self-esteem, a reasonable or justifiable self-respect, delight or elation arising from some act, possession, or relationship. So you're jumping right on to like a biblical definition. There's a lot more that can be considered pride these days. And words do change and develop as we move along. Shall we continue?
So what if I got up on the street and I said, I'm better than other people? Do you know what people would do? They'd say, you're a hate monger. That's hate.
You are a hate monger, Matt, not for saying you're better than everybody, but I bet you do think you're better than everybody. At least as a Christian, you think you have the full truth. I shouldn't say as a Christian, because not all Christians are like you, Matt. Not all Christians think that the government should execute us as criminals. Not all Christians think that the earth is 6,000 years old and that humans live with dinosaurs and all this nonsense, that evolution, biological evolution, which is demonstrable, is not real. All these ideas that you have are not typical of Christians. But I bet you think, because you have those ideas, that you're smarter than everybody else. You do think you're smarter than everybody else. I hear the way you talk. You think you're smarter than the people who research this stuff. You got a lot of pride, man. You got a lot of pride.
Hateful. That's mean. You know what? When they go around holding up gay pride signs, what they're saying is, I'm better than you. I'm better than your kids. I'm better than your family.
No, they're not. They're saying, I'm proud that the society has accepted me for who I am. I'm proud to be who I truly am. And I'm proud of you for accepting me. I'm proud of my city. Generally, pride events are put on by cities or city park districts usually. At least in Missouri they are. In Illinois, I think they're put on by the city. But regardless of who's putting it on, they're proud of there's the support that they're finding. There's a lot of things that we're proud of for Pride Month.
The Bible says that we should esteem others higher than ourselves, and that we ought not think higher of ourselves than we ought. The Bible says that if a man think of himself to be something, he is nothing. Look, pride and arrogancy is a wicked thing. We should not be proud. The Bible says that we should be humble and have a humble attitude.
Humility is a good thing, a good characteristic to have too. You do need the humility to say when you're wrong about something. Like, like say you spent your entire adult life telling people that the Earth was only 6,000 years old and you were wrong about it, and there was evidence that you were wrong about it. You think you have the humility to humble yourself and say you're wrong, but arrogancy and pride get in the way, I guess. Arrogancy, those are bad traits, Matt. We need to work on that.
Look at this. The Bible says in Proverbs 8:13, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy and the evil way. In the forward mouth do I hate. So there are certain things that we should hate. Those things being sins, pride, arrogancy, and the evil way.
I'm more in favor of getting rid of hate than of getting rid of pride. I'm sorry. Those when it comes to human traits or personality traits or issues with human personality traits, I think that hate is head and shoulders above pride as a problem in our society. And hate is what you're all about.
Now, who has ever heard of this coming out of the closet day? I hear about it every single year. October 11th is coming out of the closet day. Do you know what they are admitting when they say they're coming out of a closet? What's a closet?
We just talked about
when I was a kid, I used to be afraid of monsters coming out of the closet. People, that they're disgusting, and that their acts that they do are disgusting.
Oh.
Look at this. Homosexuality is indeed...
What's disgusting? Do you think that only homosexual people are doing these acts? Oh my gosh, Matt. You're in for some surprises when you find out that the depraved acts that you think that we are committing are also being done every night to the great enjoyment of cis het couples across the world, around the world, are doing these depraved acts that you find so disgusting. Orders of magnitude more straight cis het couples are engaging in these these private acts in the privacy of their own abodes. Right now, probably. Right now while I'm talking, there's people out there doing the, I'm sure what you're going to refer to as sodomy and things like that. Doing it right now. Thousands of people. So in comparison to the LGBTQ community, it's just silly.
Indeed, a large risk factor for sexual abuse of children. Now check this out. Did you know that 40% of pedophilia that happens from open homosexuals? Wait a minute. Open homosexuals only make up 1 to 2% of the entire world population.
If 2% of the population is responsible for 20% to 40% of something, or so pedophilia is man, I really didn't want to have to talk about this on my channel. I'm afraid that's going to so that act, the people who have that compulsion and attraction, they don't really differentiate the gender or the sex of the child that they're engaging with. But if it's a male child, then they're going to be homosexual. So this is basically saying that in most acts of pedophilia, it's basically saying that they're doing a homosexual act while they're doing it, so that 20% of them are against men doing it to boys. That's just the percentage of male victims. 20% of the victims are male. You don't understand the statistic, Matt. That's just indicates that 20% of the victims were males, and that the attackers, I'm sure that in these situations, like 98% of the culprits are male, and this indicates that 20% of the victims were male. I don't understand how you can't grasp that this is not a statistic against the LGBTQ community. It's just saying that it's a statistic of what portion of the victims are male.
That means that the LGBT, this group of people, they are 20 times more likely to molest your child than a regular heterosexual.
No, it doesn't. You don't understand the statistic. The statistic is just saying that 20% of the victims of pedophilia are male. That's all, because that would mean that the act of pedophilia was also a homosexual act. Why are you this way? Why? You don't understand numbers? I know the air is different in space, Matt. The air is different.
Than a regular person. They are pedophiles. Statistically, it is a fact within statistics. And think about this. If a man would have a...
No, not statistically. I'm going to move away from this topic because I'm afraid to get pulled with the things he's saying. I'm just going to move forward. I think that what I was wanting to focus on is about the 10-minute mark. Let's see.
This night, bring them out unto us that we may know them.
Yeah, okay, here we are.
And Lot went out
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Used with, okay? And they... Notice these words here. I want you to pay very close attention to these words. When God rained down hellfire and brimstone on these people that were sodomites, queers. Notice what it says here. It says, there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed his face toward the ground. And he said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and you shall rise up early and go on your ways. But
do biblical angels have feet? Are they like a starfish with wings or eyes all over them? I don't know. I guess it depends on which book of the Bible you're looking at, because it's so inconsistent.
Before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round about. Now notice these words here. I want you to pay very close attention to these words. They compassed the house round about, both old and young. That tells me that these queers brought little children to...
Wait a minute. You think young means children? You're just conflating that young means children. Matt Powell is really tall, from what I understand. The Raging Atheist is also tall, and he said that Matt Powell's a little bit taller than him. Raging Atheist is 6'4", so Matt's pretty tall. So I can't imagine that the dude weighs less than 215, maybe at the minimum.
Molest these two angels that came into the city, to molest these two men.
They brought children to molest men, is what Matt thinks this means. I think it means that there were old people and there were young people there, and they wanted to get in on these eyeball-colored starfish that just wandered into town that had feet, that grew feet to get their feet washed by light.
Because they themselves were getting molested. So they're they're acting out on what they've been abused with, okay? And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly.
And he's like, hey, take my daughters instead. What a creep. So there's this ravenous gang of rapists outside that want to get it on with the starfish winged people, the angels, the eyeballs with wheels within wheels, these crazy creatures that apparently are so lusted after that they laid with mortal women and made the Nephilim, and now these men want to get it on with them. But Lot's about to offer up his daughters to be assaulted by this gang. So he's the hero of the story, right?
So Lot calls these guys brethren. Look, you shouldn't be going out to the LGBT and saying, you're my brothers, because they're not, okay? They're a wicked organization. Behold now, I have two daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. So Lot is saying,
I'd rather you all assault my daughters than to assault these strange... Like, he was calling them men. They're supposed to be angels. Angels don't look like men as far as the Bible is concerned. From what I've read of the books of the Bible, and also like Enoch and things like that. The angels do not look like men. Regardless, he's like, yeah, I'd rather protect these creatures than my own daughters, because daughters, they're not worth anything in this society, in this Canaanite society. They are just marginally above slaves.
It's telling them, hey, you know what? I have 2 virgin daughters. Why don't you just, be inappropriate with them instead? But you know what? It wasn't good enough for these queers. Look at what they said. They said, stand back. And they said,
why you're conflating that these are queers? Are the angels? The angels aren't exactly. Again, they're not humans. So, is it anybody who was attracted to a not human creature would be a queer in your eyes? I don't know. Yeah, it was fun hanging out with you for a bit there, Sal. Good to see you and Peter working through some things. This is some gross stuff that Matt Powell's going over. So I hope you have a strong stomach, Sal, because I'm gonna play it.
Again, this one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now we will deal worse with thee than with them. So they try to actually break down the door of Lot's house to be able to rape the 2 angels that came into Lot's house. They wanted to rape.
Oh, he's going to keep hammering that word.
These 2 men. But look at what they said. What it says here: we will deal worse with thee than with them. So if somebody comes to you and they want to, so you can see some photos here, kind of like a reenactment of what this would have looked like. You've got these guys, old and young, little boys. You don't see them in the pictures, but the Bible records it. Surrounding.
The Bible did not say that. You made that up, Matt. It said young and old. Do you think that anybody who's considered young is a child? I consider myself young up until maybe 5 years ago. I consider you young. Are you a child? You're making things up to spread your hate. This is not a real thing that's written in the Bible. This is a thing that's written in your mind that you were forced into. I don't know, by your superiors, by your elders, by your parents, to have this idea that we, members of the LGBTQ, are these monsters that are depicted in Sodom and Gomorrah. We are not the people of Sodom. We are a community all our own.
Being the house and wanting to rape 2 other men.
All right, that's enough. I'm not going to listen to you keep dropping that bomb. Let's see. Do you ever get into
them out of here? Because we don't want any more molestation. It's me, too, and Matt.
There was the.
We don't want any more disease spreading. I'm tired.
There was the story time thing that he's talking about, but
of it. I hear about it all the time. But they say we're born this way. No, you're not. CIA did research, FBI did research, PBS did research. They all came back and said it's not natural. We don't know why people are queers.
The research is not done by these organizations. The research is done by doctors over decades, and it's biological. We are what we are. You want to think it's an aberration? That's fine. If you haven't had your chromosomes checked, Matt, you could be intersex and not even know it. You could be not fully a man and not know it. Have you had your chromosomes checked, Matt? Because right now we just assume that you are biologically male because you tell us that you are and you present yourself to us as you are. We haven't checked your chromosomes. I don't even know what you're packing down there, Matt. So maybe give a little charity to people, a little charity to our community that we're dealing with things that maybe you don't understand, and I can't expect you to understand. And I can't make you go and look into this stuff, but there's science behind this. There's biology behind this. There's again, I was with Cindy Plaza last night talking about endocrinology or neuroendocrinology. There's facets of your brain and the way they produce hormones that are going to make people different across a variety of spectrums. Sometimes our brain activity doesn't even match up with any of our physiological features. That's why you get people like me. But other factors come into play too. Sexual attraction comes into play there. There is things in the brain. You want to conflate us with rapists and pedophilia and things like that. Those statistics don't pan out for you. Those statistics don't make the members of our community look any more any worse than this has had. It's just a portion of the population that has a condition where, whatever, but they're not a significant portion of LGBTQ. You're misunderstanding the way that data works and making an inference about it. Taking the statistic that 20% of cases of pedophilia are committed against males, just can say that means that 20% of the LGBTQ community are predatory is ridiculous. You don't understand how numbers work, my dude. All right, I'm done with Matt Powell. I can't have him dropping more of this. It's the language he's using, unfortunately, that I have to get away from.